Hi everyone, this is Mercedes Castillo. I'm an immigration attorney here in California. I wanted to give you three quick updates on what's going on in immigration law. As you may or may not know, in the last week or so, the Supreme Court has touched on two cases that impact immigrants here in the United States. And I just wanted to briefly go over what that means for my clients, what that means for you if you're undocumented in the United States. The first one is they decided on February 28th in Jennings versus Rodriguez that indefinite detention is now something that can happen. So just to give you a little bit of background on that, when I first started as an attorney representing people who were in custody, there was no such thing as a Rodriguez bond. And so a Rodriguez bond is something that came about through the great work that the ACLU has been doing around the issue of custody for immigrants. And basically, that class action that originated here in Southern California was about whether an immigrant who has been in custody for more than 6 months can have another opportunity to request bond. And so basically, after 6 months in custody, in that particular case, the court had said the Department of Homeland Security has now the burden to show that your client is a flight risk or a danger to the community. And if they couldn't show that, your client was now eligible for some sort of bond or some sort of release under supervision or other terms. So this was a great thing for us back 5 years ago when it was first implemented, and a lot of my clients in particular were able to come out, defend their cases from outside of custody, get some post-conviction relief, and ultimately be successful in their removal proceedings because they were outside and working with their attorneys diligently to make sure their cases were going forward. Now what we're seeing is that the Supreme Court has overturned Jennings versus Rodriguez, which means that in the next week or so, a mandate will issue, and the Ninth Circuit is going to have to decide how they're going to move forward. This, in effect, means that if you are an immigrant and you're taken into custody, you may be held for longer than 6 months. If your case takes up to a year or 2 years to adjudicate, this means that you will be in custody throughout the entire time. If you're a resident, if you're an asylum seeker, if you are waiting for an adjustment and a petition through your U.S. citizen spouse or your child, if you are not given a bond at the very beginning of your case, you will be held in custody for an indefinite period of time. So this is a really bad case in terms of our clients and in terms of immigrants having any constitutional right here in the United States. So you should read up on that. It's Jennings versus Rodriguez. It's going to affect a lot of immigrant detainees and how we handle cases. It's also going to create a backlog, and it's also going to create a lot of overflow in detention facilities. So you should know that how this is going to impact you or your loved ones. The other really important case that I wanted to touch on was the Supreme Court has denied appeal review to the government on the DACA injunction that we talked about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So if you're still on the fence about whether or not you should renew your DACA, you should renew your DACA. If your DACA expired as of September 5th, 2016, going forward, if your DACA is going to expire in the next 6 to 8 months, you should already be talking to an attorney about renewing it. You should be getting your documents together. You should have everything in order, all your documents to show what you've been up to for the last 2 years. Your fees are going to be $495, and you need to get that out. So great news on that end. The Supreme Court will not be touching the Ninth Circuit's injunction, the Northern California federal court injunction, and DACAs will be processed as accordingly. Third thing I wanted to talk about, there are a lot more I-9 audits happening. An I-9 audit is when Department of Homeland Security has gone to a workplace and has decided that they will review the records and make sure that all the social securities are matching. If an ICE officer shows up to my place of employment and I'm, shopping there or working there, and they ask me to present identification documents, if I have no status, they can't arrest me. This is called a collateral arrest. So we need to be very, very careful about what documents we show, about what we say, and where we go, and have a plan of action in case we're taken into custody. Because again, if I am taken into custody and I'm not given a bond at the very beginning of my case, I might be in custody for a really long time trying to fight my case. So this will eventually either mean that some people are not going to choose to fight their cases, even though they might have strong cases, but they don't want to be in custody for a really long time, or it's going to mean that, we're going to have a lot more people in detention facilities, and a lot of the court is going to be backlogged, so you're not going to be able to get your hearing for months because of all the people that are in custody. So keep in mind, have a strategy ready for you or your family members or your loved ones, and make sure that you talk to an attorney ahead of time, right? That's the best thing you do in terms of being prepared for what could happen in case there is a raid or in case they do show up to your job. You want to know what your next step is going to be before you have to make that tough decision. Our office will be having a live video session on, we haven't decided, but March 16th or March 17th. Please leave us comments in below letting us know what day is best for you. If you have questions that we can touch on, leave them in advance, and we can discuss them at our live Facebook video feed. I don't even know anything about technology. But yeah, so we want to make sure that our clients and our community members are informed, they know what's happening, and that they're following along with all these changes, because changes are happening, will be happening, and we need to stay informed. So we encourage you and hope that you will call us and you will, invite us out to your community sessions. We are visiting some schools in the next few months. We're going to be doing some community events, so we'll be posting all of that on our website, on Facebook. Subscribe, send us your questions, call us up and ask us for a consultation. We want to work with you, and we hope that you and your family stay safe and is doing well. Again, call us or let us know if you want us to come out to you. Okay? See you soon.